What a way to welcome you to another beautiful Wednesday morning, a ninth day in the month of August. See how time flies, people. See how time flies. Welcome to the newspaper review on a very breezy, cool Wednesday morning. Yes, we're airing live from 32 Coca Road, Ilupeju, Lagos. That is where we're transmitting from. Again, I want to say welcome to the newspaper review. I am Afyong Eyani. A lot of news coming out from different newspaper headlines, and yes, from Mondays to Sundays, every day it's like, yay, Nigeria is just on the verge of really making something out of something. Whew. This morning I had a very disturbing statistics of Nigeria as the highest unemployment rate. I really want to confirm that story. I know it's already there, but I really want to know the particular number that Nigeria is on. Nigeria is the most populous black nation on earth. Yes, on planet earth. And we are, when I say unemployment rate is so high, it is very high. And look at Niger. Niger does not even have what we have in terms of unemployment rate, and we want to go do something like a peacekeeping, or peacekeeping as ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African State. We are, let's say, the giant of Africa, and we want to keep the peace just the way we did in Sudan. Remember? Yes, during the Goodluck Jonathan era. And now it's looking like, Nigeria will be looking at us, Niger, as a place for peacekeeping. Our military, our soldiers might be, going over there to keep the peace and restore democracy back to that place. And people are saying, okay, Nigeria having one of the highest number of unemployment rate in the world. And I got that information from another source, another radio source, early this morning, like at 5 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, goodness me. And we want to keep peace in Niger. Niger don't even have, in terms of unemployment rate, is very low. Like that means they have a number of youth or a number of citizens from Niger having jobs to do, while Nigeria is high in terms of no job to do, nothing to do. I see our youth roaming about. While I was coming down to Lagos last night, I saw that somebody said something. Look, if you pass this place, if you drive past this place around 7 o'clock, you might lose your valuables. Yes, that is what I was told. If you pass or drive past this place, you might lose your valuables, because there's some guys, young guys, that will come out in the numbers to rob you of your possessions. And okay, and that is not peculiar, because there are other places that are so more peculiar than that place. You might even lose your life. Different places with different stories. And yes, the fuel subsidy removal has really caused an untold hardship to Nigerians. And today, we'll be looking at the paper. So many things, talking about the ministerial screening. Oh my goodness, did you watch it? I did. I took our time to watch the ministerial screening. Festus Keyamo, my God. I am talking about Festus Keyamo. Festus Keyamo was, I think yesterday, was about to be screened, or was it got to the National Assembly, the Senate, and it got to his turn. He wasn't screened at first. He was not screened. All of the senators were, screaming on him and saying, look, you did not honor our invitation for a particular, sum of money that we wanted to probe and ask you what happened to that money. I think 52 billion naira that was given to your ministry for you to actually look at. And that money, I think, was meant for the palliative, just like hardship allowance for Nigerians. And we summoned you to come to this our chamber for you to really give us the statistics and tell us what the money was meant for and what was it used for. You did not oblige to our invitation, so we're not going to screen you. That was what they said. And they went around and round about it. It was booed, Festus Keyamo was booed and everything. But at the end of the day, after 2 hours, he came back, he apologized, and the screening, went on the way. And they said, okay, since you've apologized, we can go ahead with your screening. And also talking about doctors, a lot. The doctors have suspended their protests. They have suspended their protests, and there are a whole lot. Let me just go to the papers. But before I do that, I would like to go on a break. And when I come back, I'll take the papers.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Looking for something away from the regular? Television shows that will keep you glued to your screen? Then High Impact TV is your best choice. We give you the best television shows, educative and entertaining programs. Keep a date with our breakfast show, Tea or Coffee. Weekdays 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Newspaper review. Weekdays 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Midday special. Weekdays from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. We also keep you informed with news around the globe every day 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Also, we have exciting shows like Babbles, Fashionista, SLR, Vibes, Young Boss, and much more for everyone only on High Impact Television. Catch up with us on Star Times Channel 145, High Impact TV, securing the future.
Okay. Securing the future, High Impact 102.1 FM. I welcome you again to the newspaper review. I am Afyong Ayeni, and remember, I am streaming live on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM and also on Twitter at High Impact 1021 FM. I want to go to the papers because a whole lot for your consumption this morning. And remember, I'll be bringing my guest, Dr. Session Okunade. I hope I got that name correctly. All right, let's get to the paper, shall we? The Guardian newspaper, we have the big headline. The big headline is saying fear of sovereign debt default takes toll on banks' economic outlook. I would like to take it again. Fear of sovereign debt default takes toll on banks' economic outlook. That's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And on the topmost angle of the Guardian newspaper is saying federal government, National Assembly meet aggrieved doctors ahead of planned protest today. Countries with the highest default risks as of 2022. We have a graphic representation here. Countries with the highest default risks of 2022. The sovereign debt vulnerability ranking gives us insight into which countries are the most likely to default on their debt obligations. We are seeing Salvador, Ghana, Tunisia, Pakistan, Egypt, Kenya, Dominican Republic, Ethiopia, Colombia, Nigeria with 24, that's a sovereign debt vulnerability ranking. And also we're seeing Ghana 2, that's for sovereign debt vulnerability ranking. I'm just going to have a twist of tongue with that word. Vulnerable, that's vulnerability. Just pardon me, but it's okay. Let's move over to Nigeria. Most especially, we're having Nigeria with 24 vulnerability ranking. And also government bond yield latest. Nigeria has 13.2%, but in the ranking, that's the debt vulnerability 24. And also we're looking at the SY credit default swap spread 990. Also the interest expense in 2022, Nigeria is looking at 2.3%, and government debt 2022 60.6%. Okay, let's move away from the countries with the highest default risks as of 2022, with also sovereign debt vulnerability ranking. We saw different countries: Ghana, Tunisia, Pakistan, also Nigeria, with different representation. And the sources: The Guardian and Bloomberg. Coming from The Guardian, Bloomberg. That's the statistics is coming from The Guardian and also Bloomberg, with the countries with the highest default risks as of 2022. Talking about debts, we are vulnerable to all of this, but we already know what pans out in Nigeria in terms of our debt profile and also our level to payback. But let's take a swap and look at other stories on the Guardian newspaper. We have beneath the graphic, we have Niger, talking about Niger, the coup. Now, military option open as Tinubu orders more sanctions against individuals, entities. That's news. You can read that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Military option open as Tinubu orders more sanctions against individuals and entities who actually were responsible for the coup. Let's go down the story. Optimizing the Tigress potential amid NBBF's basket case. News analysis as on page 4. We know the Tigress, what they did. They are champions, and I'm so excited about that. That's actually good news, since last week I've been, waxing the farrier of all of the things that went on the way, and the score line was massive. I really found that very fascinating, and not only fascinating, also very, very good, because it's something to be happy about as a people. Nigerian Basketball Federation, the NBA, the Tigress, once again I want to say congratulations. Let's move over to another story. Tinubu Sanwo-Olu members mourn Odukoya's passing. Tinubu Sanwo-Olu members mourn Odukoya's passing. I got this information personally. I've been an ardent follower of the Odukoyas, from the wife. She died in 2006 or so. The plane crash that happened years ago. We all know the story, especially those that are of age. We know the story. And his wife, again, the second wife he married, died, I think, last year. His sister also passed on. And now, this is so sad. I got the story yesterday. Someone called me and told me this. I was just screaming and like, what is going on? Okay, away from that story, Tinubu moves to end over reliance on borrowing for public expenditure. Tinubu moves to end over reliance on borrowing for public expenditure. Yes, you can find that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. That's all I can take on the Guardian newspaper. Okay, remember, you can actually send me a WhatsApp message on an SMS on 090722450180, 0907224501. Tell me which story caught your attention. I'm reading, taking fresh stories, and these stories are really something we have to look at. In just some few minutes, I'll be bringing up Dr. Mr. Session Okunade. I'm really finding it hard to pronounce Chesson. I hope I get that correctly. I'm going to ask him when I go in. Okay, yes, I'll be bringing him to give us his reaction to some of the stories and also give us good analysis to some of the stories on the newspaper. Yes, you can also send me a WhatsApp on 0907224501. What is your story, your big story on the headlines this morning? And also, if you want to call in, you can call in on 0700 1021 1021. This is the newspaper review. Let me go back to, will I say not really go back to the other stories, but I would like to take your Daily Trust newspaper. On the Daily Trust newspaper, the big headline is saying ECOWAS slams fresh sanctions on Niger. Finally, ECOWAS slams fresh sanctions on Niger. It has so many riders, but I'll take one or two riders. Junta reject diplomatic overtures, names ex-minister PM. ACF wants sanctions lifted. No option taken off the table, Tinubu's spokesman. We are pushing for negotiation. I took all of the riders to that story. They're talking about ECOWAS slamming, giving us fresh sanctions on Niger. Okay, let me go over to another story on the topmost corner of Daily Trust newspaper. Zenith Bank signs pact with AFCFTA to build $1 million smart portal for Africa. You can get that story on page 18 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Quickly, let me move over to Daily Trust. Yes, it's saying on the topmost corner as well, Tinubu vows to end over-reliance on borrowing for public expenditure. Page 18, I found this very interesting. Tinubu vows to end over-reliance on borrowing for public expenditure. That's a good one. And also we can look at oil, over-reliant on oil for over 50 years. We can also look at that because we have a whole lot of resources in Nigeria that has not been unearthed and tapped sufficiently. If we can also look at that, over-reliant on oil, and diversify for agriculture, it will well. All right, let me move over to another story. Kwankwaso not your mate in politics, NNPP tells Ganduje. Kwankwaso not your mate in politics, NNPP tells Ganduje. All right. Labour passes vote of no confidence on Gbajabiamila. I'm happy I can pronounce this word. I really sometimes find it hard to put all of that together. Labour passes vote of no confidence on Gbajabiamila led committee. Underneath that story we paid 3 million naira for FCC jobs. Witnesses tells reps. You can find that story on page 6. Resident doctors shaved plan nationwide protest may call off strike. Page 26. I said that earlier on my introductory comments before I took on the papers. You know, the doctors have actually shaved the planned protest they wanted to go into. But let's see how that story develops. Lastly, list of 45 confirmed ministerial nominees transmitted to Tinubu. Page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. It's time for me to bring in Mr. Chesson Okunade. Yes, but before I do that, I also want you to know that we're streaming live on YouTube at impact 102.1 FM and also on Twitter at impact 1021 FM. You can send us a WhatsApp message or SMS on 0907224501. Also, you can call me to tell me what is your story, what's your big story on all of the headlines I've taken so far on the newspaper. I've taken The Guardian and also Daily Trust. I still have more in store for you. You can call me up on 0700 1021 1021. It's time for me to bring in my guest, but before I do so, I would like to go on the short break. Don't touch it down. Keep it locked.
Join us Mondays to Fridays at 7:05 a.m. to 8 a.m. for freshly baked stories on the newspaper review at High Impact 102.1 FM. Follow us on social media at High Impact 102.1 FM or call 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
Are you looking for an avenue to blast your brand? Why not let us be your detonator at High Impact Radio 102.1 FM with Got You Covered. For advert placement, sponsorship, partnership, call us on 0706 393 5694 0915 958 1881 0902 745 3931 or send an email to info@highimpactstudio.com.
Fun just got real. Looking for where you can have all the fun as promised for you and the kids? And yes, daddy included. High Impact Planet Amusement Park and Resort is just the place. Over 60 rides and games with all the food you can imagine. From mega-sized pizzas to super chili ice creams, and even a 5D cinema. Yes, a 5D cinema. The biggest amusement park is in West Africa, and guess what? It's here in the city. Come and have all the fun you can at High Impact Planet Amusement Park and Resort, located on kilometer 12, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Ibafo via Lagos. Call us on 0814-229-9509. High Impact Planet Amusement Park and Resort. Fun just got real.
Lagos, Nigeria, welcome to the newspaper review. Welcome back. Okay. I would like to bring in our guests to actually, give us analysis on the papers. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube at Impact 1021 FM. That's 102.1 FM, and also on Twitter at Impact 1021 FM. Hello, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So sorry. I'm so sorry. I was on another call. So sorry.
It's all right, sir.
But we can flow.
It's all right, sir. Lagos, Nigeria. I've been joined by Mr. Session Okunade. I'm sorry, sir. I'm finding it very difficult to pronounce the Chesson. I hope I'm getting it correctly. Mr. Chesson.
Yeah, it's just Olusegun Okunade.
Olusegun Okunade.
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 Yeah, perfect.
All right,
Yeah,
sir.
perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
Lagos. He's an economic and financial analyst, and he will be taking the papers with us. I really want to get his reaction, so I would like to get your reaction on all of the stories I've taken so far. But before then, let me quickly go over to the Punch newspaper. The big headline is saying ECOWAS plans fresh sanctions on Burkina Faso, Mali, UN talks fail. Labour rejects Gbajabiamila on subsidy negotiations, right? National Assembly. You can actually find that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let me move swiftly over to another story, still on the topmost corner of the Punch newspaper. 20 billion naira debt. Banks offer telcos repayment plan. You can read that story on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. Tinubu Sanwo-Olu church members mourn as Pastor Odukoya dies. You can read that story on page 9. Okay, quickly let me move down the Punch newspaper. Tinubu set 30-day tax reform target. UI student mix panel. Page 20 of the Punch newspaper. Quickly, sir, I would like us to look at the big headline on the Punch newspaper. Niger, we're talking about Niger, you know the Niger coup. ECOWAS plans fresh sanctions on Burkina Faso, Mali. UN talks fail. What is your thought on this big story?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to Phil and the listeners this morning. Sincerely speaking, the position of ECOWAS vis-a-vis country Nigeria, it's to me needs to be handled with care and caution. What do I mean? You discover that Niger is a neighboring country that shares a very long boundary with us as a nation. And I will say this with my little knowledge in international things, that they've been the one that is really standing in between us and Libya with this proliferation of ammunition. So in as much as some countries who are not close to Niger may be talking tough, I want a situation where we have, we will not allow Niger to see themselves as our enemy, rather as a big brother that they can rely and count on. Let me state this, that majority of their citizens are actually infiltrated into our country.
That's
and
right.
if it's not properly managed, it is sending a threat even to us as a nation. Which we need to just manage with wisdom. Giving more sanction on the part that they are not entrenching in democracy is, to me, a bit tight. See, the people actually dictate the kind of leadership they want. We should consider the fact that if that is what they want as a nation, they are a sovereign nation. The people determines what they want. Now you can see the way the citizens themselves are actually, raising their mouth and raising themselves up to say, this is what we want.
Exactly.
We support the military coup.
Exactly.
Because the people, the democratic setting has not favored us as a good citizen.
Okay.
You cannot dictate for them because you are not feeling the pain they are feeling. So I feel as ECOWAS, we should manage things, and as a country, Nigeria, we should apply wisdom because they are our neighbor. Our borders are porous.
Very.
And if you don't manage this well, you might discover that the Libya, who are already, moving around with ammunition, if they can have a formation with Niger, then definitely we have more level of insecurity, which will not be in our favor. We should manage it with utmost wisdom for us to achieve peace that is expected. A sovereign nation, and the people determines what they want, not external person.
Yes.
It's just for us as a nation as we are now. US telling us what to do.
Okay.
I think the citizen should determine the kind of leaders that they want and not an external influence.
Yes, let me quickly chip in something. I also want you to give me a reaction to that just quickly. The citizens really support this military takeover. Isn't it possible for ECOWAS and other nations to consider that like what you just said? I'm wondering if the citizens want this. Isn't it possible they let them be with what they want?
Exactly what I'm saying. Because see, nobody understands your oath as much as you do as an individual. An external person may be saying you that all is well, but you know deep down yourself that all is not well with a particular set of people. But you're thinking democratic setting may not favor them. I know the way and manner we manage ourselves to get to where we are today, and it's because the citizens are intentional about it to see democracy, still hold breath. Otherwise, possibly we too would have seen things coming up because people are frustrated, but they are not considering the military aspect as we speak. So I feel that they should let them be. If they feel mature, you see, you must grow up. There must be this maturity on your part for you to practice democracy because of certain things that is entrenched in it. Our politicians cannot be trusted. That's just the way people perceive it. But they know that with military, force is being applied to make sure that they do the right thing, even though you cannot challenge them. But they see them as people that can put the right thing in the right perspective, ending when you do. So they should let them be while we focus more on our own internal issue. And so also the other. And my other issue is there are other countries where coup has actually happened and nothing was done. Why now are we actually, putting so much might for Niger? I am considering the fact that they are our neighbor. They cover majority of our borders. They've been good with us. You have a lot of them in the southwest, in the east, everywhere. Nigerians are there. So if you discover, if they talk to themselves and decide to eat back on us, we will be able to cope and manage with it. I think peace is what we should search for and not war at this point in time.
All right. Let us look at another story on Gbajabiamila. Labour rejects Gbajabiamila on subsidy negotiations with National Assembly. So Labour have written National Assembly. They have rejected Gbajabiamila subsidy negotiations. What is your reaction?
I think Labour and the federal government should look at a common ground at which the citizen will not suffer the hardship. In as much as we understand the position that several administrations have mentioned to us that subsidy is a scam, and the three prominent candidates, actually mentioned to us that is something they will remove. I think the other things we should be looking at is measures at which we can ease the burden of the citizen in terms of transportation, in terms of food security. You see, we are talking in terms of removal of subsidy, but we are not even growing. The agricultural wing is still down the line because of level of insecurity. So even if you have subsidy not even operating, you will discover that the hardship will still prevail in the nation. So a lot of things is associated with the current problem we found ourselves. But I think that the government should start thinking of area of relieving the burden of the citizen in terms of providing transportation for us, and also making sure that the agricultural wing security exists for the agriculture, because what we need basically now is food. Yesterday, I was on a forum where we were made to understand that our unemployment rate has risen to about 33%.
Yes.
That is alarming.
33%.
That is on its own
yes.
yeah, that is on its own security threat.
Sorry.
When you don't have anything to do.
Sorry to butt in, sir. Did you see the statistics on unemployment rate in Niger? It's not like Nigeria. They don't even have that struggle when it comes to getting employed.
It's about 1.05.
That is very.
So they don't even have the unemployment as we are.
Exactly.
So
I
we
said
claim
it.
to be the.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we claim to be the big elephant in Africa, or the giant of Africa. But our people, in fact, we suffer more than the Nigerians. We suffer more than the Niger citizens, because they engage themselves, as small as they are, as compatibility as they are, they enjoy more peace. And I think that is why they feel that the last administration that was put out did not actually work so much in there, because what they want is convenience and comfort for themselves. So we have a lot that we are biting on our side. Government should concentrate more, because if we do not manage the level of unemployment by either creating more work, a lot of businesses are leaving the country because of idea of ease of doing business. We should look for way. As we speak, a lot of people are downsizing because they cannot cope with the cost of operation. And businesses are not just out there. Ask me, the MSMEs. They will tell you how they are struggling to cope with things. There is no free flow of funds. People are not venturing into it, and you see a lot of companies downsizing, lot of companies moving to the neighboring country. And what is the basis of it? A business or a country cannot prosper if there is no security. How many people can travel all the way from Lagos to Kaduna by road? These are things we've been doing. If you are not going by road, is it affordable to fly in the air? It is not. It is not. The years back, we used to go, not even up to 5 years. You fly from Lagos to Abuja with ordinary 38,000, 40,000, 45,000. Now you're talking of 200,000. How are you going to accommodate that? So we have a lot on our side that we need to actually face, rather than considering what is happening in Niger. I think we should exercise caution, allow peace to reign there, so that we can enjoy more. Because situation where we put more punishment on the Nigerians, we are opening the border for Libya for proliferation of ammunition. Because as we speak, Libya they go around with ammunition, but Niger has been a force. You know, the middle person mitigating against that particular thing. So if they open their border, which our border is very porous, over 1,600 kilometers, are in line with these people, you discover that the north will not be safe. And when people start leaving the north for level of insecurity, they are putting more pressure on the south, which will not be a good thing for the government. I think peace is what we need to talk about now, and not war.
All right, let's go over to the Guardian newspaper. Fear of sovereign debt default takes a toll on banks' economic outlook. And looking at the graphics on the Guardian newspaper, is saying countries with the highest default risks as of 2022, sovereign debt vulnerability ranking. And Nigeria is ranked on that particular table 24. And government bond yield as 13.2%. So when this story broke out, I don't know if you've really aligned yourself with the story. Fear of sovereign debt default takes toll on banks. Economic outlook. What is your take on this particular story? Looking at Nigeria falling to 24 and also 13.2% when it comes to government bond yield. And let's look at government debt in 2022. Nigeria falls to 60.5%. What is your take, sir?
Sincerely speaking, our debt management needs some rejigging. And it's not far-fetched. It's based on the fact that as we currently speak, Nigeria is not a productive nation. We are more import dependent. And when you don't produce, it's difficult for you to raise revenue, because the only legit way of raising revenue is via taxation. And how do you pay taxes when companies are not actually, surviving? So you can see the predicament that we found ourselves. And that's why the last administration has resorted more into borrowing rather than salvaging the issue.
All right, sir. Sorry to bother. Let me chip this in. Tinubu vows to end over-reliance on borrowing for public expenditure. I think he knows about this borrowing and how our debt is just rising by the day. And we don't even have a sufficient means of really, paying up our debt. And what do you think? With this story and the first story and this one, Tinubu vows to end over-reliance on borrowing and public expenditure. Don't you also think that when it comes to oil resources, we can also drop down on our reliance on oil for so many years, over 50 years? We can look at agriculture, because you also mentioned agriculture.
Yeah, asking. You see, we are not maximizing our potentials. It's not even agriculture alone. What of gold mining? We have the best quality gold, or when it comes to mining it in the country. Go to Zamfara and the northern part. But a lot of individuals are mining this for their personal gain and not to the advantage of the government. You see, we have a structural difference, and that is what is affecting us as we speak. Yesterday, the president inaugurated the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and the tax reform.
That's a tax reform target.
We believe, they are to work in line with the monetary policy arm in saying how we can have our economic growth in line with devoiding us of multiple taxation, how they can work with government in fulfilling the social contract that is obliged of them for us to end the trust that is expected for people to pay their tax with ease. You see, we want to believe that if this committee, headed by Taiwo Yedele, carry out what is expected of them as promised in their speech, we might have things, working in our favor. Sincerely speaking, we should start thinking of how to be more productive. And I want this to say, I say it a lot, that we have the natural resources embedded in. You can imagine if our crude oil is being refined locally, the kind of employment that we get definitely generated with all the refinery. If you give room, if you have the likes of Dangote, 3 or 4 of them, having their private refinery in conjunction with the government refinery. Imagine the kind of employment that will actually give to our citizens. It's going to trickle down. There will be development in the area. Talk about the gold mining area. Talk of the manufacturing sector, where all of them are migrating to Ghana and neighboring countries. Imagine if some of those things are functional. Our employability level will increase, and that on its own will give rise to government earning so much in terms of taxes. And part of the focus of this the committee is to devoid this multiple taxation, which is stealing businesses. Few people that are committed in paying the taxes are still being overburdened with different arms of government, different agencies, asking, for different taxes and levy, which is not allowing them to survive with that. So we want to believe that if the committee is able to do what is expected in sync with other agencies and other arms, we might be getting, a leeway to see the prosperity of the nation. And until we become more productive, it may be difficult for us to do. Because majority of the things that are being imported, we have the raw material. Is it a coal that you want to talk about?
Limestone.
We have it in abundance.
Marble, limestone.
Limestone. A lot of these things are out there that if we have the processing arm, it's an advantage for us to, be the giant we claim to be in West Africa, and not just West Africa, in Africa as a whole. You can imagine if Dangote start the production, the capacity is able to satisfy the Africa. We may not even give our crude oil, you can use your quota of what you sell to OPEC and make sure that you process locally, satisfy your citizen, even your neighboring country. When your neighbor are happy with you, you are guaranteed safety. But if you are fine within yourselves and your neighbor are actually looking at you. They are threats to you. So in such a way that we can develop the capacity to be the giant of Africa that we claim by making sure that our West African country benefit from the growth and the dividend of democracy that we have in country Nigeria.
Okay, lastly, just 1 minute. Our time is just fast spent. I want to know your take on the ministerial nominees. We know we're heading towards the last batch, and we saw Festus Keyamo coming up, and now the whole rancor. And after some few hours, he came back, apologized to the Senate House. What is your take overall on this ministerial screening so far?
Yeah, well, the screening of the ministers, of the nominees, to me is give and take.
Okay.
I think the strategic positions were actually, with people they consider might be feeling it, were actually grilled. Some are for compensation that they actually did.
Compensation?
So these are some of the challenges.
You call it compensation?
Yeah,
why?
for their work.
Okay.
Yeah, for their work that they did during the election process, of which is obtainable. It's obtainable globally, not only in our country. So, because for me, the way they actually, I love the minority leader who picked up on Keyamo, because it was really a challenge for him. You see, an executive arm is not superior to the legislator.
No.
Neither are they superior to the judiciary. So, if there's a call for you to come and answer the question, they are our representative. You are not just only looking down on them, and I love it. Well, I watched the play out, and I love the way the minority leader picked up on him. But thank God that the president prevailed and they were able to manage the thing. I believe he has learned his lesson. He's not the only one. Look at Bosun that was attacking the current administrator, the president. Here he is as a minister. But people should know that whatever you do, at your point when you are be diplomatic, even when you are speaking the truth to authority, try as much as possible to be objective, not critique. Because most of the time you criticize people when they give you the assignment to do. The next thing you will hear is that there are some in the ministry that is allocated to them. That's why they could not perform. People should just be careful. I believe it's a lesson, and we will see a better Keyamo in this administration rather than the confrontational stuff that we say. Because I know the president we had, he lashed on the last president who he knows hardly talk. This president has a listening ear. If you act not in consonant with his ideals or his ideas or the way he wants things to be, he won't mind. He will kick you out of it because he has a lot of them, that he can make use of. You are just fortunate to take that. So I think it's a lesson for all that when you are in position of power, be conscious because people history is writing, is documenting things for you, either to be in your favor or against you. And people can definitely raise that up against you at any point in time or in your favor to actually support whatever you are doing for that particular time.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Session. Oh my God, I'm just finding it quite difficult, but I'll try as much as possible to learn how to pronounce the name very well. All right,
don't
sir,
worry,
thank you.
I can accommodate that. I wish all our listeners the best of the week, and like I keep saying, create the happiness for yourself because there is always light behind the tunnel.
All right, thank you very much. Your analysis are always top notch. Thank you again for coming on the newspaper review, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, Lagos. This is where we call it a hand to the newspaper review on Impact 102.1 FM. I've been your host, Afyong. Again, I'll come again your way tomorrow, 7 a.m. Don't miss it. Good morning.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
maximize your money. Yeah, yeah. With Successful Summit at Money Magnet Show. Money Magnet Show. It's Money Magnet Show with Successful Summit.
On High Impact Radio, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Successful Summit.
Are you looking for an avenue to blast your brand? Why not let us be your detonator at High Impact Radio 102.1 FM with